You're now tuned into pSyk's weekly Nerf dosage.
Hey, what's up, good people? Welcome to episode 129 of PWND. In this episode, it's about my modified Buzz Bee Sentinel, or the, I guess, what do you call it? The Rapid Tech? Yeah, the Ultra Tech or something like that, the Rapid Tech. Here in Singapore, it was called the Rapid Tech, and I peeled off the sticker, but this, I have some sticker residue over here, but the original sticker actually said Rapid Tech. I kind of actually prefer the name Sentinel. I don't know why they have two different names in different countries, so yeah, but anyway, this is a modification of it, and it looks like this right now. I did a talk through of the mod, which is all the internals. I didn't do an installation guide because it was a lot of trial and error. Now, a little backstory before I get to that part. Basically, I wasn't really interested in getting myself one of these because I used to have the Slingfire, and I thought the Slingfire was cool, but the lever was made of plastic and we could do all the tricks and everything, but in the end, it just wasn't performing up to par. And I saw a lot of reviews of this, and I was thinking maybe I should buy one. Never got down to doing it until one day I was walking in Toys R Us and I realized that Toys R Us Singapore actually carries this. Now, the selling point for me was this metal lever over here. And then I went onto YouTube land and I saw that Make Test Battle actually modified their own Sentinel, and I thought that was really awesome. However, I think it was AJ, he actually used a brass breech in it, and one of the problems that he encountered was that he wasn't able to flip it, you know, with that cool flip priming style. And he said that it was because of the friction caused by the brass breech. And I thought that, you know, after looking at a few internal shots of this blaster, I decided I think I could actually make use of an old Universal Breech piece that I had lying somewhere around. So I went to dig it up, I found it. And technically you should be able to use Artifact Breech as well, but I went ahead and used the Universal Breech because it was something that, you know, I had lying around and used all like spare materials. So I tried a few you know, different ways to do it, and that's why it was a lot of trial and error, and I didn't do an installation guide because of that. But yes, the inspiration came from Make Test Battle, and I also wrapped this part over here with sponge. This is more like a rubberized grip, spongy rubberized grip, and this is actually from a bicycle handle wrap. It's really cheap. I found one for like $5. It was a pair. I still have some extra, but I thought it was really good because even in stock form, when it started to prime, it would hurt the back of my hand a lot because I grip it this way, and when I prime it, it's with these three fingers over here on the back of the fingers, and you know, metal and the fingers and the spring power is, you know, it just makes for something really uncomfortable. So now it's a lot more comfortable. I'm actually able to do it this way. Yes, the spring load is pretty high, so it's a bit difficult for me to prime, but it's getting a very good seal, as you guys can see. Alright, so I'm gonna skip all the banter and I'm going to show you guys the talk through, so check it out. This is what my Sentinel, aka the Rapid Tech, looks like on the inside. Yes, it has already been modified. I went through a lot of trial and error, and it's actually very simple. I just, you know, didn't bother to do a brass breech. So this is how I did it. Shouts out to Make Test Battle. Because of you guys, I was inspired to do this mod, but then I wanted to do it my own way, and I still ended up using brass. But it's not a brass breech. It is a Universal Breech. So let me just take all this out first of all and remove the plunger. Please ignore all this up here. That was just like trial and error stuff, and then now I don't even need it all. But the things you're gonna need to remove if you're gonna perform it my way, everything here on the inside of this part, I removed every single thing. I also actually shaved down this nub over here. Now originally there's a nub, just makes the priming a bit smoother. Remove that. I removed the things over here, I removed the things over here. The new breech is actually a very simple idea. You know, you could use a brass breech, which is the best possible solution unless you're gonna have worries and concerns about chambering issues and you want it to be a bit smoother. So what I did was I actually went ahead and I used a, there we go, Universal Breech style breech system. This one is 9/16 brass and it transits into 17/32 brass. Now how far is that transit? It's almost the length of one dart. Now you guys can see that this is actually smooth all the way. It's very smooth and it stops right there. That's where the pressure point is, okay? I'm gonna try and check it out. I can't even get it out. Alright, now we should carry on with the explanation. What I did was I actually just cut off this part. Of course you're gonna have to remove the air restrictor. So you can see the air restrictors are removed. I have a little ridge over here. I just reamed it out with you know, tube cutters, and then I Well, ignore this. You don't have to worry about this part. This was just like another trial and error that I did. But what I did was I actually cut it off here, and then I inserted the Universal Breech piece. This is the old 3D printed Universal Breech piece. And then I have a little bit of a 13mm PVC tube, and I cut it down like that to act as a kind of a block for the dart. Now this is where the tricky part comes in. It's because of the alignment of the darts inside the clip and inside the breech system. That is why you have to worry about this part. As you guys can see, I have a little ring of this 15mm or half-inch PVC over here, and you can see that there's a slot over there, right? There's a little gap between the brass and the PVC, and that's where this guy goes into. So it kind of just slides in like that. So this helps to guide this chambering piece to close up nicely, as you guys can see, like no problems whatsoever. And also it prevents the darts from going up too high. Now let me just explain it to you guys using this demonstration over here. Now I got myself a clip, and the clip says make sure to swing the lever all the way forward before inserting or removing the clip. And we don't give a shit about that. So wait a minute. Okay, there we go. When your clip is sitting in nicely, okay, you notice that this guy is actually acting as, you know, like as a block for the dart not to move up too high. Now if I would try and just estimate, now you guys have to take a look at the brass over here. Let's use it as a measurement, okay? So this guy has to be below the brass like that for it to chamber nicely. As you can see, now it's all in line, right? So that it won't actually chamber two darts instead, or like push against two darts. So I'm going to remove this and remove this guy, and you'll see the alignment issue. When you have this clip in here, notice how high up the dart sits now. Like it's all the way up to the top. And that's gonna cause you like a feeding problem, like a huge feeding problem. I'll just install this back into place, and then you guys can see even clearer from there. You guys sit in like that. Install this clip back into place, and you can see now that the dart is completely, let me just turn on this light so you guys can see. There we go, that's much better. It's completely misaligned from where the barrel is. Look at the bottom and you'll know. Look, just look at that. The brass is all the way down here, the dart's all the way up there. There's no way this thing's gonna feed. No way whatsoever. And this guy is pretty centered. Let me just take this out and prove it to you guys. I painstakingly went ahead and made sure this guy is completely centered. Look. Yes, the PVC here is off center, but you guys can see the space and everything is just weird. But inside it, how I got it to be centered is by using this. I actually cut down some of these mega darts because, you know, I don't really use mega darts anymore, so I just cut them down and I stuff them inside. So this is 2 layers of mega darts, as you can see. So I just cut 1, 2, stuff it in, stuff it around the brass and sleeve it in, and then it's held in by E-tape and it's all grouped in, so it's not going to go anywhere. So that's how I did it. Really, this part was a huge trial and error. There are some people who are intending to use the artifact breech on this thing, and yes, it will work, it will seal up, it will be perfect, but you have to really worry about the alignment. That's why after quite a lot of different trial and errors, I ended up with this situation where I have a PVC tube cut down as a dart stopper to prevent the darts from going up too high, and I cut a notch over here into this original chambering part. So I had epoxied down, and I put a layer of goop on top, 2 layers in fact, and I super glued it all the way around here, so I made sure the seal is pretty good. So this now acts a guide. The problem is, if I didn't have anything supporting it from the front, it would still be warping upwards. Yes, I tried it about 3 times. The first time was using the stock plastic piece, but the problem with the stock plastic piece is that it would not be able to, you know, fit inside there, and it will always get in the way of the barrel. I actually wanted to use this barrel instead. Now this barrel is some kind of aluminium barrel. Let me just get a dart and show you guys the dart fit. It's pretty good dart fit. It's like a just nice kind of dart fit. So check it out. It's a just nice kind of dart fit, as you guys can see. A little bit loose, but very, very good with Stefan darts. Let me just grab a Stefan from somewhere. Okay, here we go. So I have a Stefan. It's a very, very good Springer fit for Stefan, as you guys can see. So I thought this would be good. Then after the second time, I actually just went ahead and used only 17/32 brass. And the problem is 17/32 is a little bit too tight, as you guys can see, for chambering. I gotta have to do this, and if I push it in, you can see that it has a lot of like warping on the dart itself. So I had a lot of feeding issues until I finally came up with this solution, and this works wonders. So I just wanted to share with you guys. Make sure you guys know what you're doing. So this is what it is. You're gonna have to kind of slide it in like that first. So now this PVC tube is in between the receiving part of the brass and the PVC tube, as you can see. Sits in like this, so it's a perfect fit. Then you gotta fit everything in. Now I'm just gonna do this one time without the plunger in place so that you guys have a better understanding of how this thing is gonna chamber. Sit this guy like that. Sit it over here. Make sure this whole front barrel is all seated nicely. There we go. So this open position and closed position, feeding with no problem whatsoever. So now I have 2 darts in here. Let's just put 3 back just so I can better simulate for you guys. Open up the breech. You guys can see that there's no dart right now because it's being pushed down by this breech, and then out pops the dart like that. So you can see this piece over here is holding the dart down into the clip, helping it to align everything straight, and you can see the alignment is much better here compared to the brass right now. And like I said, you can ignore the 2 little stubs of brass up here, and you can ignore the hot glue. All this is all completely useless. Then this is how it chambers. Just feeds everything in to the brass on the front very nicely. I'm gonna make sure it goes all the way. Sorry guys. There we go. And then it will sit in like this and it will seal. Now I'm going to remove the clip so that you guys can actually see the chambering or the chambered process. Let me just remove the clip by slipping it or forcing it out. Sorry guys, I don't want exploding internals, so I hope you don't mind. Okay, here we go. So I got 2 darts here left, as you can see. So the first dart is chambered inside. Let me just prove it to you guys. Chambering is not a problem whatsoever. You can see that it's completely sealed, so that's good. But let's open it up and you can see the dart on the inside right there. So this is how it feeds. It's a little bit troublesome when you do it, but now I'm able to have a fully sealed breech, as well as it being able to accept full-length darts and Stefan darts. Now what I did here also is I went ahead and double springed it. I put E-tape under this O-ring over here, got some padding, which is the same sponge as what I used for the arm over here, and I filled up the gaps in the plunger rod with epoxy, so that should be pretty darn sturdy. And this is the internals. So this is how you install everything back into place with the spring, just in case you guys are wondering how to do it. Make sure everything is seated nicely together. Put this guy back in. Make sure that this knob is facing down. You can choose to have the springs inside this part or here, it's your choice. I'm gonna just go for here, and then slide this one from the back in like that. And make sure that the plunger rod goes into the slot. Push it back a little bit, and then you're gonna line the front from here. Set everything down. Make sure that knob on the other side goes into place, and we have everything sitting nicely. Make sure your triggers all in place. Sorry. And last but not least, install this guy back. Now you notice that there's this little curve over here. You can wrap E-tape all the way up till here. Just leave a ½ inch space from where the end of this curve is right here to where your sponge is, if you guys are going to go ahead and pad this, because back of the hand on the sponge padded part is much more comfortable. This sits like that. Real simple, absolutely no hassle when you're closing it up. Perfectly fine, shells lined up very nicely, and it works. Check out the breech. Open, close. Open, close. There we go. Ta-da! I hope you liked it. Big shoutouts to Make Test Battle for actually inspiring me to do this. I'm glad we finally have this in Singapore on sale, and it's really cheap, and it's a really fun blaster to own, and it now packs a serious punch. And remember, Buzz Bee, we don't give a shit about this. Welcome back. Now you guys realize that the importance of the talk through is basically tell you guys that it's not going to be easy for you to, create a new breech for this blaster. If you guys are not looking for a brass breech, you have to make sure that all the alignments, and everything are correct. And for those of you who want to use an artifact breech to do it, if you're using the, the long shot artifact breech, go ahead. It is possible, just make sure you get the alignment right, especially for the top. Originally, they had this lever inside where it was a spring powered lever that would always be pushing down backwards. Like if this is the orientation of where the barrel is, it will always be pushing backwards this way, so it would hold the dart down in place when you prime it. So the plunger goes back, and then this is down, so when it goes forward, the knob on the top of the plunger will actually push this up, and it will push the tip of the dart down to be chambered nicely. And of course there's a dart tooth there. And on top of that, yes, this barrel is really wide, so you have to take into consideration all of that. This is the blaster as it is now. I like the aesthetics of it. It actually looks kind of cool. Please don't mind that it's a bit dirty over here because I have some sticker residue. But I thought it was really cool. A lot of people say they don't like the stock. I happen to think that it's quite okay, even though no one really shoulders a shotgun style blaster like this. Is meant for you to just fire off from the hip. I thought it was really cool, and because of this thing now, it's really comfortable. I'm able to just hold it like that and just use, you know, the force of both arms to kind of like just prime it. And by removing the locks, I can basically deprime it. Just hold this thing in place, squeeze the trigger, and slowly let it back, and then it'll be done. So enough of talking. I'm going to give you guys a firing demonstration using a whole bunch of different style of darts and clips. First of all, I'm going to use the original Buzz Bee clip that came with this. And I'm using Nerf darts inside. As you can see, it's all like streamlined darts. I got some like standard elites, and I got like a rebel dart on the inside. So I have 3. I'll be firing all these 3 off in the usual corner over here. Let me just hammer that in place. Here we go. So all 3 are out without any problems whatsoever. Dart clip, sorry, clip is empty. Next we have a Worker 15 dart banana mag with 3 of the original Buzz Bee darts that came with this blaster. And the reason why I have 3 is because I only have 3 left. The other 3 were actually kind of damaged due to, you know, my testing during the installation phase or the modding phase. So when you insert a clip this way, just make sure that you push this lever a little bit more forward to ensure that you really have that dart chambered. So just make sure, and then we're gonna fire off. So all 3 out with no problems. Next we have a standard 18 dart stick mag by Hasbro or by Nerf, and I have 3 nipple tip darts inside. You can see that I have the original black ACC nipple tip, and then I have the 2 white glow in the dark, I guess like FVJ style, like vinyl tips. Yeah, so the hard nipples, yeah. So same thing, make sure you get it in place, and then we're gonna just prime it and fire off. Oh, looks like it's gonna drop. Alright, there we go. All 3 out without any problems whatsoever. Now let's move on to firing off Stephans, and I have an artifact Stefan clip, and I have old style Stephans in this thing. I have like a white foam slug, a pink foam slug, and a original style silly tip dart, the first generation style. So let's try it out. And because these are Stephans and you know they're not like full length, you don't have to push the lever forward, just chamber it as per normal. Wait, just let me, yeah, you have to use a bit more force in closing up if it's an artifact clip, and I'll explain to you why in a short while. But let me just fire off. And you can see, whoa, hit the camera, and you can see that firing off Stephans is a lot more powerful because of the dart fit inside brass. But all 3 are out, and the reason why is because this dart pusher over here, the one that, you know, pushes the darts upwards, this is generally higher than most of the other clips, and that is why you have to kind of force it a little bit harder when you're closing it so that your breech will actually push it down. Next up is a pSykD clip, and I have the new style silicone tips. As you can see, I have 2 nipple darts, you know, Stephans in this clip, as well as a current standard silicone tip Stefan dart. Alright, and I'm gonna be firing off as usual using the pSykD clip, and for this one you don't have to use much force because it's not an artifact clip. Oh. Okay, so darts flying everywhere. All 3 are out without any problems whatsoever. That's that. Now if you guys are wondering whether or not you can still prime it with the flip style, yes you can. I'm not that good at it, but I will try. I hurt my hand, as you guys can see. There's a little bit of blood, and this is not because of the blaster. It's because I kind of pierced myself with a screwdriver while I was doing something else. It's kind of stupid of me. But anyway, so I don't really have that much of a, you know, a grip strength because it feels like it's a huge bruise, but I'll try it anyway. The one thing you have to take note of is that because now I have this brass thing sticking out, you don't want the brass to hit yourself or cut yourself, but basically just forward and then you are going to flip it like so, and you can see how smooth it is just by doing that. So it's not going to be like Mixtex Battles AJ's brass breech where there's a lot of friction, but this is just going to be really smooth. Prime it and flip it. Sorry guys, I don't hit myself. There we go. So that's how it is. Let me just try one while I'm standing up. I don't want to make a fool of myself, so here we go. There, okay? One more. So it's not a problem doing this flip thing at all. And because of the sheer spring power, we're not able to just single-handedly flip it down and up unless you have a really heavy counterweight over here. That's the only difference now. I really like this blaster, be it in stock form or be it modified. Of course, in stock form, it already packs a huge punch. It's got a really beefy stock spring, and when I said I double springed it inside the talk through video, I actually double springed it with an upgrade retaliator spring. I believe that the spring was from Worker, and I had to do a lot of modifications for it to be sturdy enough to take that load. I also did upgrade the catch spring, and I didn't share that with you guys, but I upgraded the catch spring with something else. I don't even know where that spring came from, but I basically just double springed it as well. So this thing is really sturdy. I really like it. A lot of trial and error, but actually the solution was honestly pretty simple. I just didn't want to go for brass breech because it's been done, and I'm not saying that it's a lousy or it's not a good solution or a good way to mod this thing. I think a brass breech is awesome because, you know, you're always gonna get no feeding problems if you do it right, and you're gonna get stellar performance. It's just that I wanted to make this mod out of whatever I had left over without sacrificing extra time or, you know, buying new lengths of brass to make the brass breech. I just wanted to share this with you guys. In the end, yes, I still use brass, and that's because originally I wasn't able to use the barrel that I wanted. When you guys see this, I'm pretty sure you guys will come up with an alternative method that's even better than both the brass breech and my version of doing this thing, Universal Breech, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have in store to share with all of us. All in all, is it worth this mod? Yes, I'd say that it is worth, because it was a really fun process, you know, thinking through, you know, screwing up, trial and error. That's the kind of thing that I like. Personally, I live for that satisfaction when I finally get the blaster working flawlessly like this, having an almost 100%, it's not 100%, it's an almost 100% seal, and it can accept almost all kind of darts and almost all different type of clips, so I'm actually really happy with it. This blaster is a steal in terms of value for money when you compare it to this Nerf Sling Fire. This one is just awesome. It's got a metal lever, so you know this is not going to break, and that is why all the modders so far are more confident in upgrading the spring power, because they know that this lever is going to be, you know, able to withstand that extra load. It's got a really cool, you know, and very ergonomic mag release system that was quite surprising to a lot of you know, Nerf enthusiasts out there. And overall, honestly, I think that I like this look more than the Sling Fire. The Sling Fire, I didn't like the whole like wooden stock with the full wrapping kind of style, but I like this because this looks like, I don't know, it's very squarish, a lot of edges, and it looks a bit more aggressive, I feel. If you guys are actually gonna open up this blaster, please take note, you gotta lift up this part, which is all like 4 clips over here, and you gotta lift up this as well, because there are 2 clips on the inside. You have screws here, and you need to take this out because this is holding the thing in place. And for this part, all you gotta do is just squeeze it and just wiggle it out, and it will pop out eventually. Alright, so screws are underneath here, no screws here, no screws here, but you have to remove all this in order to open up this blaster. And once that's open, it's a very easy and very mod friendly set of internals, and I'm very glad that Buzz Bee did this, because this really is such an ease to work with, and I'm glad that I was able to get this to work, and I'm very satisfied with this. So hope that you guys, you know, like this mod, and I hope that it inspires you to go try out one of these. I'm not trying to sell you the Sentinel, but I think that it's a really cool blaster for what it is. This style of priming might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it is quite fun to use, honestly. That brings us to the end of this episode. Once again, guys, thanks so much for watching and sticking all the way throughout. It's been a while since I went ahead and I did a for fun mod. So this is really just a for fun mod. I don't even know if I'll be using it in a war, you know, I don't even know if this is practical enough, but definitely it's getting pretty good performance. It's not that great, but it's got a very nice plunger tube volume. It's got a nice breech now, it's got good seal, it's got sturdy priming arm, and it's just badass in total. Like, all in all, I really think that this thing is quite badass looking. I don't know about you guys, but I really dig this blaster. One thing I'd like to ask you guys, because Make Tats Battle, or I would say Justin from Make Tats Battle, always comments in my video description. Shout outs to you, Justin. Thank you so much for all the support. Justin always, you know, says, hey, good editing. What do you guys think? Do you guys prefer this? Do you guys like the way that I actually have my installation videos now, where I just perform the installation, I have a lot of jump cuts, and I actually voice over everything? Do you prefer the talk through style? Do you prefer the pure installation style? Like, for example, I've totally gotten rid of all the unboxing videos that I used to do quite a lot. So let me know what you think of this so far, whether or not you guys are okay with the jump cuts. I want to hear what you guys have to say, because, you know, I'm trying to improve my channel. Till the next episode, guys, I won't be in Singapore. I will be going over to Melbourne. I will try my best to hit up Make Tats Battle. I don't know my plans yet. I'll see if I can make some time. But the sucky thing is, I found out that there's gonna be Z-Town, but Z-Town's just mad expensive. Z-Town is like 80 Australian dollars for a visitor. I don't even know if I want to spend 80 Australian dollars for that. You know, so it's like I'm in a dilemma right now, so I don't really know. Plus my neck's not really good yet, not like 100% because of that fall that I had, and now I just hurt my hand, so I don't know. But even though I'll be in Melbourne, I will still have videos out for you guys, I promise, okay? If you guys like this video, I hope you guys give me a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to my channel, I hope that you guys consider subscribing, where I make videos every week. Alright, so till the next episode, guys, I will see you then. Drills pay the bills and teamwork makes the dream work. Peace.